Growing up, we were taught that everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and that we should strengthen and emphasize our strong qualities, meanwhile improving or hiding our weak ones. Similarly, some life events are seen as favorable, while others are viewed as unfavorable and limiting us. And we believed it. As a result, we have a negative attitude toward our weaknesses and the challenges that restrict us. We think of these as barriers to overcome or hide if we want to achieve happiness and success. But suddenly I wondered, is the world really that unfriendly that it's deliberately burdening us with limitations that make our lives worse? Wouldn't it benefit everyone if we could easily realize our potential and contribute positively to the world? Why then do we need additional obstacles? The idea of an unkind, punitive universe seemed to me fundamentally wrong. So I reframed the question. If the world wants us to be happy and successful, could it be that our weaknesses and limitations aren't obstacles, but our unique strengths that we haven't understood yet? This question changed everything. Instead of seeing my weaknesses and life's challenges as obstacles to eliminate, I began to view them as integral parts of my strength and uniqueness. The circumstances hadn't changed, nor had my so-called negative traits. What has changed is my perception of them. No longer seeing them as limitations, I began to look for ideas on how I could use them to my advantage. It's not our flaws or circumstances that hold us back. It's our beliefs about them. Once we change our beliefs, these same circumstances can become our main advantages. I'll give you a few examples from my life of how this worked for me. Public speaking in English as a non-native speaker. For me, public speaking has always felt natural. But when I first thought about giving a speech in English, which, as you may have guessed, is not my native language, I was hit with a lot of doubts and fears. What if people don't like my accent? What if they don't understand me because of my pronunciation and grammar mistakes? What if they laugh at me? What if I speak too slowly and make long pauses, causing people to get bored? These were real concerns, and I spent a lot of time worrying about them. But then I asked myself a crucial question. Could my imperfect English actually be a strength and make my speech more interesting? Soon after I asked this question, I discovered some interesting facts. An accent can make you stand out and be memorable. Sometimes it can even be charming. Unusual sentence structures can refresh the listener's perception. Long pauses can add value to what is being said. Having a different cultural and linguistic background can make a speaker seem exotic. What I thought was a weakness turned out to be a strength and a unique feature. Believing I'm not fluent in English had held me back because I thought I needed perfect English before I could speak publicly. But once I stopped seeing it as a problem, I found new motivation to speak confidently. This experience shows us that it's not the circumstances or our individual traits that limit us, but how we choose to view them. Positive thinking isn't just a nice idea. It can truly transform how we see ourselves and change our actions. Another example. Playing the piano during travel and immigration. At some point, my family and I found ourselves living the life of perpetual nomads, moving from place to place almost every month. Initially, we were in a minor state of immigration, first changing cities and then countries. Gradually, due to global circumstances, our minor immigration turned into a major one with an uncertain outcome. We were in a suspended state and on our toes. During this time, we lived in over 30 cities and 5 countries. And throughout this journey, from the very beginning, I wanted to play the piano and compose music. It seemed like there were already so many things to manage, and moving around was tough. So where would there be room for a piano? I quickly put aside the idea of buying a musical instrument, so I started looking for places where I could rent a room with a piano or grand piano for a few hours. I remember having to take a taxi for over an hour back and forth to practice for 2 hours. This took up a lot of time and money and didn't give me the results I wanted, as I wanted to practice more, compose and record my pieces. Here's an important point. At that time, I didn't fully understand what exactly I wanted to play on the piano or in which style I wanted to create music. Sometimes I just wanted to play Chopin or famous melodies and songs, but I had no clear idea of my own music style. Additionally, I had an internal conflict. How can I focus on music when we're in immigration, without long-term documents, with a small child, and with limited funds? I need to find an additional job instead of making music. Moreover, I wasn't even sure that my musical abilities were good enough to be a decent musician or composer. So I had 3 main issues. I didn't have an instrument to play. I didn't know which style of music suited me best. And I wasn't sure if I had any prospects in music at all. My solution was to find a small digital keyboard that would fit in my suitcase. I found a 37-key MIDI keyboard with short keys. It fit perfectly, but its small size made me wonder, what music can you play on this? You can't play Chopin or compose a concerto on it. It could only handle simple combinations of notes across 3 octaves. But everything changed during a move to a small village in northern Thailand. We were staying near a beautiful lotus pond. I called it the Zen Garden. I spent time there meditating, reading, and listening to Zen music. One day I came across an article comparing Zen music with popular genres. The main difference between Zen music and popular genres appeared to be in the meaning of pauses. Popular music uses pauses to prepare the listener to perceive sounds and melodies, whereas Zen, or meditation music, uses sounds and notes to prepare the listener to perceive pauses or silence. And each note is important. Each note is a piece of art in itself. This realization was a breakthrough for me. I began to see my small keyboard as a complete and sufficient instrument. I started to bring more mindfulness to each note and pause. That's how I found my musical path and began composing and playing piano music in the genre of neoclassical minimalism, which I continue to develop till now. I just thought about a new example, and now we're going to laundry with my daughter, Where's my daughter? To a laundry. And this type of video making is not my favorite. It was never my favorite, like vlogging style, because I studied filmmaking at film school, and we were taught that you have to spend a lot of time writing a script. You have to make everything thoroughly. You have to draw a storyboard, to buy or to rent an expensive cinema camera, lenses. You need an expensive computer, good lighting conditions, then spend a lot of time editing these videos. And all these beliefs in my mind slowed down all my creative process in all different projects. And now, in this time of my life, I need to spend most of my time with my daughter at home, as you see. And I always thought that it is an obstacle for my work, for my projects, because it slows down my creative process even more. I have read a book called Nordic Dads, and after reading this book, it became okay for me to see myself as a father who is sitting at home with kids. And of course, there are benefits in this situation, that you can see how your kids are growing up, but at the same time, it can be hard to find time for a good concentration for your work, for your projects. I always thought about it as an obstacle, and because now I'm doing this video about limitations, I wondered, can this also be transformed into my strength? Only yesterday I realized that I always was overcomplicating things. For each of my projects, I was overcomplicating things. Now I decided that maybe it is possible to make everything more effective, easier, like to get decent results with spending less time on it, on my project. So now we're coming, you see my beautiful daughter, she's helping me to go inside the laundry room. And it's my first time here. I'm kidding, it's not my first time here. I think it's a beautiful example of how we can transform our limitations into strengths. Now try it yourself. Let's do a quick experiment together. I invite you to take a moment to think about the limitations you currently feel in your life. Think about any weaknesses or limitations that you might believe make you less valuable or less significant in your journey. Consider the challenges you face in your life that seem to restrict your realization. Here are some examples. You might think, I'm too poor, I'm too wealthy, I have bad health, I have low energy, I struggle to remember long texts, I can't count quickly, I'm afraid to take risks, I feel my income is not high enough, I don't have time for self-improvement, I struggle with interpersonal communication, I don't have friends, I'm overly concerned with external opinions, I'm an introvert, I'm very emotional, or I'm not emotional enough, I lack education, or even I'm overeducated, and so on. What limitations do you feel in your life right now? Pick 2 to 3 limitations that come to your mind first. Write them down on paper. Now ask yourself, how can each of these limitations be seen as a strength? What, in your opinion, are strengths that can be leveraged from these limitations? Can these limitations make you stronger in one way or another? Perhaps your current income level fosters financial discipline. The lack of time could spur creativity in time management strategies. Challenges in communication might enhance empathy and networking abilities. and managing external opinions could cultivate stronger confidence in your decisions. Each limitation has the potential to be reframed as a strength and a source of growth for you. Besides, even if you have weaknesses that can't be turned into strengths, that's okay too. Social media often portrays successful people as perfect beings who are always energized, happy, enthusiastic, and confident. But that's not the full story. There is a tempo rhythm everywhere. In art, life, nature, speech, and actions, the rhythm of our experiences, including our moments of pauses and challenges, shapes the richness of our journey. Recognize that this unique combination of strengths and weaknesses, triumphs and failures, dreams, ambitions, achievements, and losses, is a gift that belongs only to you. Just like no two snowflakes are alike, your personal experiences and challenges are uniquely yours. Think of your weaknesses as the pauses between sounds or words. Just as pauses add value to every word, your weaknesses make your strength more valuable. That's what makes you a multi-dimensional being. Without weaknesses, you'd be like a robot, perfect but lacking depth and humanity. Accept that your unique life experience, with all its pros and cons, is the most valuable thing not only for you, but for everyone. You are much stronger and more interesting than you might think.